Okay, Lumberjack and Southland Conference fans, early morning at the Fairfield Inn, Louisiana Tech Invitational. I'm pleased to have new head coach at the University of New Orleans Volleyball, Millicent Van Norden, with us this morning. Always like to give new coaches in the Southland a chance to kind of talk about their clubs. We try and cover the whole Southland Conference here on SFAVolleyBlog.net. So Millicent, first, welcome to the Southland Conference.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
So before, off camera, we were talking a little bit about your coaching history. What did you know about the Southland before you became a coach in the Southland?
I think I felt like the Southland as a whole is a competitive conference, definitely in the southern region where I've been in the southern region as a coach, and then kind of up the northeast coast. So I feel like the southern region is a strong area for volleyball, lots of tenured coaches in the conference, which is exciting for me to try to come in and obviously be more vested into one single program.
Your first few days on campus with a team that struggled last year, what was your first message to your girls when you first met with them? What were some of the first things you said to them to kind of pull you into your system?
I think most importantly, I wanted to address team culture. I think, when you have a program that hasn't experienced a lot of success, you have a lot of different mindsets and mentalities. So obviously talent is an issue and you want to recruit strong players, but you don't want to recruit strong players into a poor team culture. So I wanted to address that. I think New Orleans is a place where you can be really committed to the university and the city and community. And so I wanted them to know, we were going to be servant leaders and, really try to step it up from a university pride and team culture standpoint. And I think that was the very first message I wanted to send to them.
What's your philosophy on goal setting for a team? I mean, there's the duality between not wanting to accept losing, not wanting to continue to be okay with losing records, but at the same time there's the reality of building. So what's your philosophy? What have you communicated to your team in terms of appropriate, reachable goals for 2014?
I think we've talked a lot about not looking at the score and the end results and thinking more systematically. We've tried to set our goals incrementally, being realistic, and then, no matter what the results are, trying to use that to assess, reevaluate, and then reestablish our goals. So we've tried to do it kind of like as a step-by-step process throughout the season. We started in preseason. We identified some things that we wanted to accomplish. Obviously, we knew we were going to have to be a better defensive team in order to kind of stay in matches once we got to conference play. And then when we finish up and we haven't reached our goals, we reassess, we reevaluate video, that type of thing, and say, okay, how did we do on this goal? How did we do on that goal? And just trying to stay focused on the little things, I think, is most important, more important than our record.
What about as you get a few seasons under your belt at UNO, you'll have, of course, a chance to look at different scheduling opportunities.
Absolutely.
What's the philosophy there on scheduling? Because that plays into it, the goals. And on one hand, there's the confidence builder. You'd like to play some teams that you feel like, you got a good shot to build some wins against. On the other hand, you play in a tough conference. So what's the philosophy on scheduling?
Yeah, that's unique because the team and I actually had this conversation yesterday. We talked a lot about RPIs. We talked about how the team gets into the NCAA tournament and then what happens when you get there, what team you draw. So we did talk a lot about ranking yesterday, where I'm not sure if they had a clear understanding of how that happens. The schedule for this season was already made. So obviously I want to make the schedule as competitive with winnable opportunities as I can. And so looking ahead, I've really tried to say, let's work on securing our roster so that we can get into the upper echelon of scheduling, meaning scheduling teams with RPIs of like 200 or better at least, and then trying to build up from there. So we definitely don't want to be the program in the conference that keeps us down. We want to get to the point where we can get our conference up to having more than one automatic bid into that tournament, and scheduling is key to that. So obviously building up that roster where we can be competitive, because we still want to be, above 500 as a team.
One of the things that I noticed right off the bat as I prepared for SFA's radio broadcast of our match yesterday is, and you mentioned cultures, you have a lot of different mixing cultures on your team. If I have this right, you have Setter Hamilton, who's from France, who's transferred. You have Celis Weave, who's from Canada. You have Frank, who's from Canada. You have Sander, who I know is nursing a little something right now, from Germany. You have some girls from California. You have some girls. So how do you as a coach, and how has the team meshed with all those different backgrounds and cultures.
Well, I think it's a good blend of what New Orleans is.
You're right.
Yeah,
That's
I think
true.
you come to New Orleans and you find a little
That's
bit
right.
of
It's a melting
everything.
pot. Yes, you
yeah,
do.
so we have fun with it, saying that we're a diverse team, we're a diverse campus, we're a very diverse university. So I think the roster is actually a snapshot of the over 90 different countries that are represented at the University of New Orleans. But they do a really good job, so we're all learning a bit of French and a bit of German to try to communicate a lot better. And we're fortunate that our young ladies, you have to have very high English scores to get into
Right.
UNO. So our young ladies speak English very fluently, but we're still trying to have like that dynamic. So I don't think there's any plan in the recruiting process that we're going to go here and go there. We're just looking for the best players that want to come and help us build this program. And so it just happened, that they're from a little bit of everywhere.
Communication actually on the court in a volleyball sense is so important. Any fan who sees that, always hears chatter or should hear chatter amidst the players. Do those cultural backgrounds or language backgrounds or country backgrounds, have there been any things you've had to address in terms of communication on the floor?
Absolutely, and it's going to be ongoing because some of them played with a very different team dynamic. Like Sarah coming to us as a transfer, her team hadn't lost a match in 2 years. So her court communication, getting to out of system balls, where she's yelling stuff like "go," but in the U.S. the word is "help" when you want someone to take it.
Yes.
So we're still trying to address that. I think even in yesterday's match, we didn't do a really good job of communicating until set 3. We actually heard people talking to each other about when to jump to block, what adjustments, what the reads were, pre-serve chatter. Like, it really took us a while to get comfortable. And so one of our challenges having a new team, is just them understanding how to play with each other, positive court communication, even coming from the sideline. So for us, that's a work in progress, and we're going to continue to address it until, we get it right.
One of the neat things about the Southland, and some of LaTech volleyball fans know this, is that we have a lot of different styles of arenas that we play in. We have a very intimate small gym. McNeese does. You'll see Central Arkansas in your next tournament does that. And we have some schools that play in coliseums like we're playing in today, like Sam Houston. I saw a video that you did in preparation for this tournament that talked about at a home match recently you had big crowd support and that you felt like that really urged the team on. What do you do as a new head coach to promote an atmosphere of volleyball on the UNO campus?
I try to be as visible as possible. For that last match, I was actually invited to the Panhellenic Council meeting, and so I had to stay late at work. It wasn't until 8 o'clock at night. I went to that meeting and just talked about how they could help us. We really needed their support. We're pushing hard to give our university something to be proud of, and not, like I said, in just the wins and losses, but the way we approach it and in our effort. And in that, we feel like our students have a great opportunity to come out and be a part of something that at some point will be great. And so they really have just kind of taken us in, and we're doing some different contests for attendance on campus with the Greek organizations, and they've really bought into what we're trying to do. So for us coaches, and it's across the board, I'm kind of following the lead of our men's and women's basketball staff, where they are out there serving lunch. We're doing community service when they have privateer pride events. They're moving furniture, and so I've just kind of fallen into that, and the students love it.
The Southland Conference has several new coaches this year. We have a new coach at Lamar. We have a new coach at Nice. I believe we have a new coach at Nichols. We have several, and we have several young coaches, such as yourself in the Southland. But we also have some deans, and of course, ours, Debbie Humphreys, in her 27th year at the helm of SFA. I think of Brenda Gray at Sam Houston, also 500 wins. Have you had a chance to feel like you become sort of a coach of part of that coaching fraternity in the Southland? Have you had a chance to attend meetings or associate with your fellow colleagues in the Southland?
Not as much as I'd like to. I've gotten some really nice emails and phone calls, just reaching out, support, anything I need, wishing me the best of luck, and everyone knowing how much work we're going to have to do to turn this program around, and really love the support. But I think there's nothing like, sitting in a room full of people and being able to interact there, and we haven't quite gotten there yet with me starting in April. So I'm looking forward to those moments, and unfortunately, a lot of the times when I'll meet coaches for the first time is when we play them.
On the court,
yeah. So hopefully, after this first season and off season, I'll be able to build more relationships with the coaches in the conference. That's important to me.
And last question, Coach. What would you say to someone who's high school athlete who stumbles along this YouTube video, or somebody who lives around the New Orleans area who might catch a match? Let me give you an opportunity. Tell us, why should a young high school girl, why should a young girl playing club, that girl that's looking at programs, what's attractive about coming to play at UNO?
I think the most attractive thing is what you get beyond just volleyball. One of the things that drew me to the university is what happens on the campus. I've been in a lot of different places, and outside of our facilities for athletics and our programs record, I couldn't tell you a whole lot of other things to do. And I think the student-athlete experience goes by so fast, and when you want to have a connection between being a successful athlete and really trying to accomplish something in a short amount of time that most of the people in the country can't say that they've aspired to do, as well as still have a really great college experience with all the festivals and the universities and, you know, the strong academics. I think University of New Orleans has a really good balance of all those things. And obviously you want to have credibility, you know, in the coaching program, and you want to trust that you're buying into something that will eventually pay off. And I think University of New Orleans does have that. Now we just have to be really concerted and focused on, you know, the type of athletes that we bring in, and get people who want to have that balance between a great experience, you know, as a student, and then a successful experience as a student athlete. And hopefully we'll get people to buy into that vision. I think we can.
Fans, there's your introduction to new head coach Millicent Van Norden, University of New Orleans. They have the same schedule that we do at Stephen F. Austin today. They'll take on Brian Yale, former SFA assistant Brian Yale, UTPA. That's the first match today, and then they'll also get Louisiana Tech later in the day. Thanks to Coach Van Norden. We'll see you around the Southland circuit when you make your way to Nacogdoches.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.